Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers. Special shout out to everybody else passing through. YouTube, what's good? Alright, so now that a few days have gone by since this shooting incident with this officer, Officer Geiger, Amanda Geiger, I believe, the news is now reporting that this officer was supposedly heard two things. This officer was supposedly, one, heard knocking on the door requesting to be let into the apartment. But her story is that she went to put her electronic key into the apartment after parking on the wrong garage level at a place where she lives, and then walking up to the wrong apartment door believing that it's her own, even though the news reported that there is a red welcome mat in front of the apartment door, which this officer should have known she was not at her own apartment. And that this officer went inside the home thinking she was in her own apartment, and when she saw that somebody else was in the apartment, she started to give orders that were not complied with, and then she fired her weapon 2 times, killing this unarmed black man who had no reason to have ever encountered the police in any way, shape, or form. This officer was not on duty. This officer was not responding to a call. This officer was not serving an arrest warrant. And yet, it seems like the news reporters, at least on the stations that I've been following this story on, are trying to give every benefit of letting the story play out over the possibility that there were some orders being shouted at this individual who was in their own home that they did not comply with. At this point, it seems like we're not safe anywhere. If now I can be in my home and the police can kick down the wrong door or respond to a call and walk up to the wrong house, and now I'm inside with my kids or whatever, and now I'm at risk of being shot for no reason. Because how this officer is being charged with manslaughter, that's criminal in and of itself. It's beyond me. It's not manslaughter if you purposely fire your weapon at someone and cause their death. That's not manslaughter. You weren't cleaning your gun and the gun was aimed at someone and you didn't have the safety on, or you forgot that it was loaded and the gun went off and killed someone. That's manslaughter because you're acting in a reckless manner. That can be a manslaughter charge. Not you pointing your gun at someone, having no cause or reason to do that, and then firing that weapon twice in the dark and then killing that person. And yet they want to tell us that this officer is going to be treated like any other civilian or any other suspect would be. How? When they weren't even arrested until 4 days after the incident. How? When they're on paid administrative leave. How are you on paid administrative leave for a shooting incident that happened while you were off duty and not responding to a call? Because essentially what this officer did was home invasion. If it comes out that the door was in fact ajar, that's home invasion. Wouldn't be breaking and entering because you didn't destroy a locking mechanism or break anything to break into the home, but it's still home invasion. If I enter someone's home and there are people present in that home, that's home invasion. That's home invasion. That's what it is. I can't then tell the police, I'm on my block. I'm for some reason I thought I was walking up to my front door. Fucking cops would look at me like I was crazy. And then I would be charged with home invasion, even if I didn't cause no harm to the people inside. This officer was in someone else's home. Whether she knocked on the door, asked that person to let her in, or the door was ajar for some strange unknown reason, and she walked in thinking it was her own apartment, it is reckless behavior as a trained police officer to walk into that home and fire 2 shots off into the dark. That shit don't make no fucking sense. And maybe I'm wrong and y'all can correct me if I am, but I have not heard any reports of any of these news reporters or the prosecutors or the whoever questioning the fact that how did you park on the wrong level of the parking garage where you live and walk into an apartment that did not belong to you? How? Because if it's either one of 2 things. Either that officer from doing that 15-hour shift was too tired at the end of that shift to be coherent, too tired to be, in her right state of mind, in which case she should not have been carrying a gun. or you would have to be suffering from like severe exhaustion or be on some kind of drugs to really be that out of it, that you walk into the wrong apartment, and yet, as disoriented as you are to do that, as out of it as you are to not know that you're not even in your own apartment, but yet you have the presence of mind to pull your weapon and fire 2 shots at a silhouette in the dark. This shit don't make no fucking sense. You're a trained police officer. And yet this officer is on paid administrative leave. What's paid? Why is there paid administrative leave? Because that would insinuate that pending a certain outcome of the investigation, that this officer might not necessarily lose her job. Because usually it would be unpaid administrative leave, or this officer would be, asked to resign or let go until these charges sort themselves out. That's not being treated like I can't go commit a crime, be charged, and then expect to still, where I killed someone, and then expect to still be able to go and go to work every day, continue to get paid. That shit don't make no fucking sense. If I was charged right now with killing someone, more than likely I wouldn't even get bail. Because let's just be real, that's just the nature of the criminal justice system. It's highly biased toward black and brown people. I hate to be that person, but it is what it is, and I gotta be honest on this channel. This situation just drives home the fact that it's open season on police officers being able to kill unarmed people, and there seems to be no immediate recourse. But then they're gonna tell us that this officer is gonna be treated like any other suspect. And yet we have not seen any evidence of this officer yet being treated like any other suspect. The shit don't make any fucking sense. It makes no sense. Even if this thing goes to trial, even if this officer ultimately gets convicted of manslaughter, that's not the correct charge to be convicted of. Because what it sounds like, and in one of the news channels news broadcasts I was watching, it sounds like they're trying to determine what the officer's state of mind was when she fired the shot, saying that if she truly believed that she was in her own apartment and fired that weapon, thinking that she was firing at a potential burglar, that wouldn't make it murder. You had no reason to be there. You had no reason to assume that was your apartment. And I thought it was supposed to be that ignorance of the law does not excuse you breaking the law. I would love for someone to explain to me how that's a manslaughter charge. This shit would not be a manslaughter charge if it was anyone. If you walked into a police officer's home who lived in the same building as you and you said, I thought this was my apartment, and you legally owned a gun, legally had the right to carry that gun, and you fired and killed that police officer, you would not be given the benefit of the doubt. You would not be. You would be charged with home invasion. You would be charged with murder. Because automatically, if you're a police officer, you get the benefit of the doubt. And when something's done to these police officers, it's a national fucking tragedy. But when another unarmed black or brown person gets gunned down for no reason, minding their own business in their own home, having no expectation or no reason to suspect that they're about to encounter a police officer who's going to walk into their apartment, there's no reason why this situation should ever have happened. I mean, it's like if you do something that you know you're wrong and you cause the death of another person, why are we trying to spin the story to make it seem like, I thought I was in my own apartment and I was giving this person orders and they weren't responding, they weren't complying. You in my home. I have no reason to think I need to explain or defend myself to why are you here? Why are you here? But these police officers are given essentially a license to kill, and then our families are left behind trying to prove why we didn't do anything to deserve that. And I would love for the people who usually get down into comments when situations like this happen and say, that person should have complied, that person shouldn't have resisted, or that person should have just did what they were told. You can't say that in this case, because this person was not on a traffic stop for a traffic infraction. This person was not pulled over by police or approached by police because a crime was being reported and this police officer suspected this person of committing a crime and they were investigating. No, this person was minding their business on their couch in their home, and this unarmed police officer walked into their home. Because what needs to be investigated, in addition to this clear, what should be, in my opinion, a murder charge, why is this officer so disoriented that they can't even remember which level parking garage they're parking at or what their apartment address is? There are numbers on the apartments. Why are you mistaking someone else's apartment for yours? How are you on a totally different floor from where your apartment actually is? Because if that's the honest truth of what happened, then something is wrong. You're carrying around a weapon and you're not in your right state of mind. And why that's important is because if it's exhaustion, if it's because of that 15-hour shift, and it's because you have a pattern of doing shifts that long, day in and day out as a police officer, and you're carrying a weapon and charged with policing the public, if that officer's doing it, then other officers are doing it. And I know for a fact that those are the hours that these officers work. 12, 15, 16, 18-hour shifts for no fucking reason. And you're carrying a weapon that can end someone's life. This shit makes no fucking sense. But now, is that going to be looked into? Is there going to be an inquiry on that? Is there going to be an investigation into that situation? Probably not. And if there is, the public will never hear about it. I don't condone retaliatory violence. I don't condone violence in general. But you can't help but understand when people decide to start targeting police, people are fed up. Fed up with the disparity between justice for the people, justice for us, and what justice looks like for these police officers who are always presumed innocent and treated as such until every possible avenue is exhausted before their guilt could be determined, while we are presumed to be guilty and have to prove our innocence, even in death. There's no way in hell that this story can be spent to make it appear that this man, unarmed man, innocent man, minding his own business in his own, in the safety of his home, should have been expected or required to comply with anything that he hears from some stranger shouting in his home. And he don't even know what's going on. Even if this person said, I'm a police officer, identify yourself, whatever. You're in my home. Why are you here? Yo. I'm going to keep following this story. I'll bring updates. I'm sure there's going to be more shit to talk about as this, this case gets deeper and deeper. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Let me know what y'all think about this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.